Well, hello. It is time once again for Social Glue powered by Restream. Welcome to the show. We're a little dabble do ya, in a totally awesome sense. This is Social Glue powered by Restream. I am your host, Rachel Moore, and it is Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, which is where we are every single week. Rather, when we are. Where we are is on LinkedIn and on YouTube. And I'm so happy you're here today with us. I always love asking people off the start of any live stream show I'm doing because this is so magical to be able to reach out to you digitally. Where are you watching from? I am coming to you from sunny yet cold Denver, Colorado. Our guest is going to be coming to us from not here, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But you may be watching from just about anywhere on the planet. That's the magic and awesomeness of being able to go live. As we've all found this year, digital matters even more than ever, and we'll talk about that too today. But I just wanted to welcome you all to this show powered by Restream. Social Glue is here. I am going to guide you through the arts and crafts of social media. And this show is all about that. We're going to talk about all the nuances and ins and outs and cool stuff about social. So please, by all means, let us know in the comments where you're watching on LinkedIn or YouTube, where you're watching from. Also, and I say we have a Leon, Mexico. Very cool. We've got Sandy. I have one of my friends, Sandy, Harlingen, Texas. We have Lithuania. See what I'm saying? It's magical. I love that we are able to see where all of you are joining from. I just dig it. It's really cool to be able to see all this. So welcome to the show. Appreciate you guys all being here with us on the show as we go through this. So a reminder, Social Glue is powered by Restream. And one thing I want to show really quick that Social Glue lets you do is that I can actually show the chat in the stream. So let's see, I should be able to look at this here. So overlay chat, look at that, you guys. Isn't that cool? Really cool feature of Restream. And Social Glue is powered by Restream. So it does let me showcase all of the chat as well as what you've already seen. I'll be able to share some of you guys in the actual screen. And I'm going to go do that a little bit too, because I saw Trisha Hummel, one of my good old friends, is joining from Green Bay, Wisconsin. So like I said, all over the globe, y'all are coming here from. And thank you so much for joining this show. So once again, this is Social Glue powered by Restream. Restream is what powers and drives the show. It's a live streaming and recording produce videos tool. You can go up to 30 plus channels and destinations using Restream. I'm obviously going to 2 right now, LinkedIn and YouTube, and happy to be with you here today for that. So I hope you guys are enjoying this too. And before we get started too far into this, let's recognize a very important date today. Happy Festivus from Social Glue. I cannot imagine there being a more involved Festivus for any other year except for this year. Festivus, as you may or may not know, is a time to air your grievances as well as to share your feats of strength. Sometimes it may be the same thing. But if you'd like, go in the comments. What are your grievances from 2020? Just let them all air out. Now is the time to do it. You'll find camaraderie in the chat and in the comments with people who are sharing their grievances, but also any feats of strength. I will share my grievance. I had an emergency appendectomy on Monday because I think my appendix was even like 2020, I'm out. It was done. It was done with the year and it left. And that's where I was on Monday. I'm happy to be here with you today. Thank you. Thankfully, again, for the power of live streaming and Restream, able to sit here with you and chill out and be Festivus with the rest of us. And so please do leave your grievances and feats of strength in the comments because I'd love to see what you guys have all been up to. Now, let us move on to the first segment of the show. Now that we've gotten all the intros out of the way, we are going to talk about Social Glue news. And the first thing up today is I want to share about Social Glue is going to talk about checking back on Twitter. So those of you who use Twitter, perhaps you've been stuck in the mires of trying to get verified on Twitter. Now, if you see a verified account on Twitter, it's someone who's got that little check mark. Usually it's for celebrities, news outlets, politicians for sure, people who have verified with Twitter. They are the actual person they are. So that way, if you do want to tweet at, mention, or talk to that account, you can pretty much rest assured that's the actual person or entity. Now, I'm someone who has tried to get verified on Twitter. I am a real person. My real name is in my Twitter handle. I have been on Twitter since 2008, and nary have I ever been able to get a check mark. So that actually went away. The capability for that went away in 2018 because they were trying to kind of get their handle on, well, their handles. But now it's going to come back in January 20th, 2021. That's not the only change happening on January 20th, but it's the one we're talking about in this show. So if you have an incomplete bio or don't have a header image, that's not going to prevent you from getting verified, but you will need a verified email or phone number. You'll need a profile image, and you'll need those things to be able to get verified on Twitter, allegedly. And there's a few other rules. Again, got that article on adweek.com, so please go ahead and check that out. You can learn a little bit about what it's going to take for you to get verified on there. And again, thank you all for watching. If you're watching right now, I really appreciate you guys checking us out. And I'm just going to show a couple of the comments here. I know, right, Anne? I got an appendectomy. I'm still here. Thank you. And trying to be very festive because it's fun. Holly says, love the hat. Thanks, Holly. This is actually one of my grievances. Again, let's bring that up because it's Festivus. We used to have a nice little stockpile of Santa hats, and I think my son lost about half of them. So this is like one of the only ones left. The other one is on our Jack Skellington mask that's on our front door because that's how we roll at Christmas. So, but I appreciate you guys with the feedback about how everything's going, and also just watching and sharing your stuff on here. So let us hop back, shall we, into the Social Glue news. So get verified on Twitter, maybe in 2021. That might be something you want to do this year. The next one we want to talk about is Facebook reading minds, or in my estimation, dumbing things down. So I love the way this article reads on BuzzFeedNews.com, by the way, because it says, oh, well, Facebook's looking at a way to make it so readers don't actually have to read articles. For the last, I don't know, 4 years, let's just say, I think it would have been better had people been actually reading articles instead of just like skimming over headlines. We actually want people to, use their ability to read and critically think. But Facebook thought, no, you know what? Let's go the other way. Let's figure out a way to make people so they don't have to read the guts of an article. They can just skim and share. It's frustrating, but they buried the lead because right after that sentence in this article, it says, and they're trying to figure out a way to read people's minds and translate their thoughts into action. I mean, talk about a double take. It's like, why wouldn't you have led with that? Because that really is the thing that's interesting to me mostly, especially when it comes to Facebook, who already owns all of our data anyway, and now they're thinking they'd like to read our minds. That was one hell of a company-wide meeting that BuzzFeed got the input on there. So neural sensors coming your way, maybe from Facebook. I don't think I'll be signing up for that. I'd rather get the vaccine first. So that is new from Facebook. Really odd and weird. And I'm sure you guys are all like, what about that? It's just something that you kind of have to absorb. And then lastly, this is kind of big news, and it very much relates to today's guest. Is Periscope down? So Periscope is a live streaming feature, an app that is connected. It first started standalone, and then it was connected to Twitter and acquired by Twitter. And it's actually going to be sunsetted in March 2021. So for any of you who maybe you're like, wait, I missed it. I never tried out Periscope. You can't even sign up for a new account now. Apparently, you have to, if you're already on it, it's still there, but it is going to go away by March 2021. Twitter, however, will still allow people to live stream with the same features. It's just not going to be its own app because right now, right now you could probably download the app. If you have your own account already, you could totally use it, but you won't be able to create a new account now. You'd have to, starting in March, just use Twitter solely to go live. So that's kind of a big deal. It's one of those, play taps and, pour one out for another social media app that's going to go away technically as its own standalone. But fortunately, we'll still be able to see live streams. And as we know, there's a ton of other options out there for people who do want to still go live streaming, which we'll hear about a little bit too from our guests. So with that, you just watched the Social Glue news segment. If there's anything in news that relates to social you think we should have covered or you'd like us to cover on next week's episode, drop it in the comments. Would be happy to make sure you are all taken care of. And with that, we are going to usher into the next part of our show, which is our Social Glue shout out. Now, I'm really excited about this because one thing I like about this show is I really wanted to make it a very important focus to say, look, there are people doing all the hard work in social media. Granted, we see a lot of big names out there who are offering their insights, their expertise, the things they've learned. That's all fabulous. But there are so many people out there who are doing the really hard work and delivering the results on social for brands, for themselves, or anything like that. And that's what we're here to do, is give that shout out. So today, I'm really pleased to welcome this week's Social Glue shout out is our good friend and Periscope user, soon to be not a Periscope user, but hey, he adapts and pivots. Doug Cohen, welcome to Social Glue powered by Restream.
Hey, how you doing, Rachel?
I'm doing great. I'm still here, and again, trying to be festive, but man, if I remembered you were going to be my guest this week, I was like, that's going to be awesome and cathartic. So I'm so glad you're on the show with me.
Very awesome and cathartic for me, and healing for you. I can't even believe you're here. Like, you are a total... can I say badass? Is that
you
okay?
can say badass. We can totally say badass on that show. It's really good. But no, I'll take that. I will. That's my feat of strength. So
very impressive.
Grievance, appendectomy, feat of strength. Still doing a live stream 2 days later. But Doug, I'm really happy to have you on the show. It's funny because I do remember you. I think I first encountered you on Periscope. You have been you and your wife Allie have been one of the mainstays on Periscope ever since it became a thing, and just making it work. But I'd love to let you complete that. Talk to me about kind of what you do in social with Frameable Faces, with M10. Let us have it. What do you do in social, man?
Absolutely, I'll let you have it. Well, with Periscope, it's kind of funny that you say that, because I've been saying we were like the first ones to arrive and the last ones to leave. It's kind of, I had heard about Periscope, So let me take a step back. Frameable Faces, that's where I'm sitting right now. That's our photography studio. Me and my wife, Allie, we're in West Bloomfield, Michigan, in the Orchard Mall. And we've been in this retail space for 12 years. Allie is the photographer, and she kind of rescued me from corporate misery. Back in 2008, I was working in national accounts, business to business with T-Mobile. All of my accounts were automotive. And in 2008, big recession hits, and all of my automotive accounts go bankrupt. So I went about a year with like no sales. Detroit was like ground zero for the 2008 recession. And they finally let my boss go, and I knew I was next. So that's when Allie said, well, when it happens, don't go look for something else. Let's take the studio to the next step and open up a retail photography studio. Mm-hmm. So it was big risk. We took a step back, started all over again, and went for it. And I brought all of my sales and marketing background to bear with really what turned out to be good timing for the advent of social media. Right around that time was when Facebook started to become a thing. And so I just kind of dove right into not just sales with our clients, because Allie and I work as a team with all of our clients through photography sessions and all of that, but really starting to hone my skills in content creation. And really, I've always felt that I was a creative, and this really kind of gave me an opportunity to call my own shots and get my creative juices flowing again. And it really made me feel like I was finally sitting in the spot that I was supposed to be sitting in. And I always say I have Allie to thank for that, because she kind of rescued me. Mm-hmm. And little by little, we started to grow this brand on social. And then Instagram came, and then Snapchat came, and Vine came and went, and all of these other apps. And we took a lot of that content creation that we had been doing on all these other apps. And when live streaming came, it just right away, when I heard about it, my buddy told me, hey, have you heard about this thing called Periscope? On March 28th, I think he texted me. It was released on March 26th, 2015 into the App Store. And on March 31st, we went live for the first time.
Oh my gosh. So like you were right on the cusp of right when it started.
Right when it started. And my first thought was, well, hey, this dovetails really nicely with all the types of content that we've been creating, because video was always big for us, doing some behind the scenes stuff for our photo sessions and posting it on Facebook and putting it into our blog on our website and all of those things. But live streaming just seemed like a really cool element that would make sense for us. And so we just kind of dove in and it took off. And for those who were there at the beginning of Periscope, that first year, it's kind of hard to explain if you weren't there, but it was really a magical time where the community was flooding onto this app. Everybody knew each other. It was like people were connecting all around the world. And it was the first time that you could really hang out with somebody walking around in Paris and talk to them about what they were seeing and talk to other people in the broadcast. It was just such a visceral experience. And it was very exciting. And so, we wrote a couple of blog posts about it. We did a couple of funny takes on the type of people that you meet in Periscope. And a couple of that series of broadcasts caught on.
Yeah.
And we ended up trending on the app, and suddenly we got like 20,000 followers, and we got invited to go speak at the Periscope Summit in San Francisco. And so our live streaming thing just took off, and it eventually morphed into the Doug and Allie Morning Show, which we're still doing 5.5 years later here from our studio. And we have a ton of fun with it. We have a whole community of people, tons of inside jokes, and tons of content all over the place on the web, all around our brand, Frameable Faces. So the one other thing that I'll just mention, I don't want to dominate and talk forever because I can.
Bring it.
But all right, temperature check. But as time went on, people started to notice, not just globally in the Periscope community and the people who were live streaming, but people here locally noticed what I was doing from a social media standpoint and how we were marketing our brand. And people started to ask me, hey, can you help me with my business? And so one by one, I started to take on clients and I started to consult for people. And I took over the social media for the mall that we're in, which allowed me to work with a number of different brands and stores from different types of business models. And it started to go well enough that I thought, you know what, I should brand this and have a separate website and take it seriously, as opposed to just being the Frameable Faces guy that happens to also dabble in social media. Let's launch a separate brand. And that's when M10 Social was born. And so now I've got a separate brand and website where I blog about my social media stuff there. And I've got a handful of clients that I'm creating content for and doing their community management on multiple platforms every day.
See, you have just described, I think, what so many of us realize, and it wasn't just like in 2020 that this happened, but the ability to pivot, but bring your skills with you, right? And use what's at hand. I think it's so cool that basically you were like at the genesis of Periscope and one of the first adopters of it, and you're still going to be that once it ends. So it's like from start to finish, you were right there. But that's not where it ends, and that kind of leads me to my next question.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing now? So, we've got the Doug and Allie morning show with Frameable Faces. Obviously, you're doing M10 Social too. With Periscope going away, what are your plans? Like, where can we direct people to find you all now?
So the Doug and Allie morning show that we've been doing mornings from the studio here, we're continuing to do that now on an app called Happs, HAPPS.TV. And a lot of the Periscope community, the ones that remained, that were still broadcasting on Periscope, there weren't as many as there used to be, because it had kind of been, the platform had kind of been running on autopilot for the past year or so with really nobody manning the controls. And so people started to leave the app, and a lot of those people have now gone to Happs, and a lot of the old Periscopers have come back to Happs. And what's really nice about Happs TV is that it's monetized already. And it's got a lot of the same aesthetics in terms of the interaction and the social community that's being built there. And so we've found that our live stream, our Doug and Allie morning show, has translated really well to Happs.tv. So you can find that show there. And you can still connect with us at frameablefaces.com. I mean, we could talk about this, and I know you talk about it a lot, but, I've always learned that you have to focus on your website as a business because that's your owned online asset. And as we know, I mean, Periscope disappeared, Vine disappeared, Brand disappeared. Like, you know, apps and platforms can come and go. I mean, I don't think Facebook's going anywhere anytime soon. But at the same time, we've always kind of focused on our website and using these other social platforms to try and drive traffic there. And a lot of our best stuff is still at our website. So you can always go to frameablefaces.com. And the widgets are all there to connect with us on all the other platforms. And then you can find me at m10social.com. And that's where I have my social media blog. And I also threw in a music blog there as an outlet for myself. So there's a separate tab there called Doug's Music Snobbery, which I have on the M10 Social website. So there's no shortage of content for you to find us with and connect with us on.
I still remember, I think I threw you for a total loop when you posted something on Facebook about, you know, what's an album that changed your life. And I brought up Jagged Little Pill by Alanis Morissette, and you were like, oh.
Triggered.
I know. That's okay. And I'm like, I ain't giving it up, buddy. That's for real. I can't help it. It just was. But I know it's been so great. And that's one thing that's so great about social too. And you've been talking about content. It's so great when you can bring across yourself, who you are, what you are about as a person, and personalize that into your brand. A lot of times that can really draw people, you know, if you are bringing on new clients and they just kind of identify with you. And who knows if it was like the music or if it was the expertise or it was the periscoping or anything like that. There's just so many ways you can create that connection. And Doug, we're going to move now, segue into and let you be part of this next segment of Social Glue, which is the Social Glue question of the week, which fits in really great with what you were just talking about too. So I'm going to share this on screen. And Doug, you know, you were just talking about live streaming. That's all important and things like that. But our question, which ties into some of the content you've been talking about, how important is good writing to my social strategy? I would love to hear your thoughts on this.
I think it's the most important thing, I think, in a lot of ways. I mean, yes, live streaming and bringing yourself and your personality and your ability to face-to-face connect with people is great. But you have to be able to write. And you know, the thing about writing is that surprisingly, it's not a skill that a lot of people are comfortable with.
That's so
Not
true.
many people. Like, I find that my clients, the thing that they value in me the most and the thing that gets them to, you know, it gets their jaw to drop sometimes when they say, hey, can we post something about blah, blah, blah? And I'll put together a few paragraphs and write it in a way that when they see it, they're like, oh, that's perfect. Like, your wordsmithing, your ability to just convey that message is something I could never do. So many people are not really that talented or that comfortable with writing. And if you can get something across in written form, you know, not everybody's going to sit and watch a live stream. Not everybody is in a place where they can you know, where they can listen or they want to read captions on a live stream. People do still like to read blog posts. And I think you need to be a wordsmith and your grammar needs to be on point and all of these things that a lot of people aren't comfortable with. You need to be able to do it.
I totally agree. You know, it's funny because, and I know one of the people watching is Anne, my friend Ann Nguyen, and she's actually going to, oh, well, she's our featured haikuer. I don't know if that's a word, but she's going to be our featured haiku submitter of the submission of the week. But I know she knows about this, but on Pinterest, I created a board that was a meme graveyard. And the reason I created that is because I hate it when I see a really witty meme, but it's misspelled or it's got a incorrect punctuation or grammar. And I'm like, well, that just ruined it. I can't share it. So I just go pop it in that meme graveyard because I'm like, well, that's as far as I'm going to take it, because you're so right. I mean, it's just something where some of us are like, that's the breaking point. That's the straw that breaks the camel's back. I can't move forward with this anymore. And I see it on news articles all the time where maybe someone just didn't, edit it or review it close enough and they missed something. And I'm like, really? So you're so right. And it literally, you're talking about all the reasons writing is great and an important skill to have. But, as much as your live streams are awesome, it's not like that's those are words unless you transcribe it. Those aren't going to get dropped into the, the SEO engine and algorithms of Google to be categorized and cataloged. You have to have those actual words in the coding of your content, like your website, to make sure you're showing up in searches, and you just do. So it's really important.
It's really important. I mean, you'll lose people, to your point. If your grammar is wrong, if you're misspelling things, you'll lose people, because your credibility will be tarnished right away because you don't look like you're a serious professional.
Totally.
Number one. And number two, for the people who are like, oh, the grammar police is here. Yes, the grammar police is here. Grammar and spelling and words do matter. And if you do use the wrong one, you could completely change the message. You need to be on point with your grammar.
That's right.
I tell young people this all the time when I mentor or when I talk to people that are asking me about entrepreneurship. I say, whatever you think you're going to do, even if you think you're going to be a doctor, whatever it is, just focus on your writing. Be a good writer. Learn how to write, because as more and more businesses, as we found out this year, needed to pivot to online and be able to convey and write and put out content and their message, you need to be able to do that, and it'll serve you well and give you an advantage in any endeavor, even if you're not a content creator, if you're not going to be writing novels. A doctor who can write, that's a skill that can help a doctor.
That's right. That's right. It's important to get those ideas across. And I want to wrap with an exhibition of your writing, because we're going to get into the final segment of the Social Glue Haiku. But Doug, you wanted to read your haiku, and I've been waiting for this. So I'm going to put you on screen. Give us your haiku.
All right. I have my haiku ready to go. All right. Ready?
Yes.
Is there any background music?
There's not, but you can imagine it. Feel like, oh.
There it is. Social media. Humans and technology. My eyes and thumbs hurt.
I think we all feel seen with that haiku. That was very spot on. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And thank you again for demonstrating the value of good writing, even if it is just a haiku for the Social Glue show. But that's what's so fun about it. Doug, thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm putting up on screen where to follow you on social, at Doug Cohen 10, also at M10 Social, and of course at Frameable Faces. But Doug, it's been a pleasure having you on our Social Glue Spotlight. Thank you so much for joining us. And you are one of the pros we're happy to shine the spotlight on. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, Rachel. And I value you, and I've learned a lot from you, and I value being able to bounce things off of you and the relationship and the friendship that we've had over the last few years. So thank you very much for having me on.
Of course. Thank you so much. And have a great day kicking ass at your writing.
I will. Thank you.
Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.
All right. So we've had a little bit of a taste of the Social Glue Haiku. We are going to enter into that last segment of the show with our Social Glue Haiku. Easy for me to say, right? Should have done my little alliteration and singing, those little practice things you do, like a many mumbling mice or making minute music in the moonlight, mighty nice kind of things, just to get those things rolling off your tongue. That is not a haiku. But I am about to share with you a haiku written by my good friend, Any Nguyen, who wrote the following haiku. Social glue today. Learn from the best in the biz. It will stick to ya. So I love that Anne provided an actual promotional haiku for the show. If any of you are interested in submitting your own haiku, I've been gathering some on Twitter today too. I'm bookmarking them all. They're going to be fabulous to read on the show. But if you want to submit your own Social Glue haiku, just go to really.social/Social Glue. You can find anything about the show there. It's a form to submit your haiku. If you want to be the shout out, the Social Glue shout out, and be a guest on the show with me for Social Glue, you can also fill a form out there. And if you have a question about social media, we are here I'm bringing you experts every week, the people who are doing the actual work, who can answer your social question for you. Please go check it out. We'd love to have you give us whatever you need answered, and we're happy to give you all the stuff and insights you need about social media. Social Glue, it will stick to you. It's adhesive, and it brings us all together. I love this little globe in my background because it really is about just connecting us all together on social, whether it's through live stream apps that are coming and going, or the content we write on social media or on our websites. All that stuff matters. But thank you again for joining us here on Social Glue. And I want to remind you that this show is brought to you by Restream. Restream allows you to stream live to 30 plus social platforms at once. 30 plus. I mean, I'm just doing 2. And some of these live stream platforms I haven't even heard of. I mean, all the mainstream ones, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. But then you've also got like all these ones from other countries I've not heard of, but they matter to people because there's content creators out there. So you guys should totally go check it out. Also, I have a special link for you. If you want to try out Restream, you can use my link. It's a short link, bit.ly/Rachel uses Restream. It's all lowercase. Go check it out. You can go try out Restream for yourself, see how well it works. I'd be happy to have you check that out. And before we end the show, just want to hop over and just showcase, and I'm just looking at all of the wonderful chat you guys have left. Thank you so much. And remember to keep sharing where, if you're watching a replay, share where you're watching from. Share your Festivus grievances or feats of strength. I did. And I want to hear about yours too. I'm sure you have them from 2020. We should give some eyeballs on those. So share them in the comments and let's see those. And please don't forget that we are here every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern on LinkedIn and YouTube. It's my LinkedIn feed and my YouTube channel right here. And you can find out more information at really.social/Social Glue. I'm thrilled you guys could join us today. That is a wrap for the final episode of this show leading into the holiday. We'll be with you next week. Oh, that's right. I've got to show you who's on for next week. So I'm really excited about next week's guest. I only met him a little while ago, or like a few months ago, but our guest next week is going to be, let me hide that, Anthony Yepes. I know him because he on Twitter created a Slack, or invited people to a Slack community for social media managers. You should totally be a part of it. It's the SMM-community at Slack. But go check out Anthony Yepes on Twitter, and he's happy to invite you. I can invite you to it too. He will be our guest for the final show of 2020 before we kick this year out of here and get into a whole new year where hopefully new challenges, new rewards, and new hopes and dreams can be fulfilled. My appendix said goodbye to 2020, and let's say goodbye to it too. But we'll be here next week on December 30th at 2 p.m. Eastern with Anthony Yepes as our Social Glue shout out. Again, easy for me to say and easy for you to watch. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate you all so much. And please have a happy holiday, and I'll see you next week right here on Social Glue, powered by Restream.